Back to the Moon. Read to you by Carol Brigham. United States astronauts landed on the moon on July 20, 1969. This was the first time anyone walked on the moon. From 1969 until 1972, 12 men walked on the moon. These men took pictures, collected moon rocks and soil, and did tests. Astronaut Alan Shepard even hit a golf ball on the moon. In December 1972, the last men walked on the moon. The U.S. Congress said that it cost too much money to send more astronauts to the moon. They cut the space program budget. Astronaut Eugene Cernan was the last man to walk on the moon. He said, "We believe not too long into the future, we shall return with peace and hope for all mankind." He didn't know it would be more than 50 years before astronauts would walk on the moon again. Artemis. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is planning a new project. NASA has been working on it since 2017. The project is called Artemis. The Artemis project will have a woman and a person of color walk on the moon. So far, only white men have walked on the moon. The Artemis project will also use new technology to explore the moon. It will tell us more about the moon's surface. NASA, companies, and space programs from other countries will work together. They will design special equipment. People will use the equipment to stay on the moon for days, weeks, or months. Someday, people may stay on the moon for years. Artemis 1. NASA is planning at least 8 Artemis flights. Artemis 1 was supposed to launch in August 2022, but there were problems with the rocket. Then, Hurricane Ian and Hurricane Nicole delayed the launch again. Artemis 1 finally launched on November 16, 2022. Artemis 1 is a test flight. There were not any astronauts on the rocket when it launched. The tests from Artemis 1 will show if it is safe to send astronauts into space on Artemis 2. Artemis 1 was in space for 25.5 days. It flew more than 1.3 million miles. It went 40,000 miles past the moon into space. It came back to Earth on December 11, 2022. The spacecraft splashed down in the Pacific Ocean near San Diego, California. Artemis timeline. Artemis 2 will be another test flight. There will be astronauts on Artemis 2. The astronauts will do tests in space. The tests will show if NASA's equipment is ready for people to land on the moon again. NASA says Artemis 2 will launch sometime after May of 2024. Artemis 3 is planned for sometime in 2025. There will be 4 crew members on Artemis 3. At least one crew member will be a woman. At least one crew member will be a person of color. They will be the first woman and person of color to land on the moon. Artemis 3 crew members will spend about 6.5 days on the moon. Artemis 4 will bring more equipment to the moon. The equipment will help people stay on the moon longer. The crew will help set up the equipment. Artemis 4 is planned for sometime in 2027. In the future, Artemis 5 through Artemis 8, and maybe more, will bring more people to the moon. These astronauts will spend more time on the moon. They will use equipment like living spaces, rovers, and special tools. Their tests will teach NASA more about living in space. NASA has not set dates for Artemis 5 through Artemis 8 yet. Deeper into space. NASA will use what they learn from the Artemis flights to send astronauts deeper into space. NASA wants to send astronauts to Mars. NASA hopes that one day people will walk on Mars. For more information about the Artemis project, visit www.nasa.gov/special/Artemis. For more information about Easy English News, or to subscribe to our digital and paper copies, visit our website, easyenglishnews.com.